The Galaxy S26 Ultra is starting to feel like the moment Samsung finally stops holding back. Year after year, we've seen safe upgrades, but this time the direction looks different. The design, engineering, and feature choices all point to a flagship that wants to break old limits and set a new standard for what an Ultra should be in 2026. And just when people thought Samsung would stick to the same battery formula again, fresh leaks flipped the story. For years, 5,000 milliamp hours was the wall Samsung didn't cross on its main flagships, but the S26 Ultra might change that rule entirely, revealing a shift in how Samsung wants its devices to evolve. A new report from Momentary Digital claims the S26 Ultra could finally climb to a 5,200 milliamp hours battery while also becoming slimmer and lighter. A bigger battery inside a thinner body is something fans have demanded for ages, and if this leak is solid, Samsung might actually be listening this time. But battery upgrades are just one piece of the bigger picture. The S26 Ultra is shaping up to redefine what Ultra even means. With major jumps in camera hardware, a broader performance footprint, and a design language that feels more aggressive, Samsung looks ready to make a statement with its 2026 lineup. Then another twist came from Anthony, known as the Galaxy, who introduced his own vision of how Samsung should structure the S26 series. Instead of pushing the base model into a Pro, he suggested that the Plus model should evolve into the true Pro variant, and honestly, his version looks surprisingly believable. In his concept, the standard S26 would ship with a 4,300 mAh battery, a 50 plus 12 megapixel camera combo, 45-watt charging, and 12 gigabytes of RAM at $799. A clean, no-nonsense base model that keeps things balanced without stretching the price too far for everyday users. Right above it sits the S26 Pro, replacing the usual Plus. This model upgrades to a 4,900 mAh battery, a triple 50 megapixel camera layout, 65-watt charging, and 12 gigabytes of RAM for $999. With specs like these, the mid-tier device instantly becomes far more desirable than before. And of course, his S26 Ultra concept goes fully unleashed. A massive 5,200 mAh battery, a 250 plus 50 plus 50 megapixel camera array, 65-watt charging, and up to 16 gigabytes RAM starting at $1,299. This is the type of Ultra that actually justifies the name, not just by design, but by raw capability. But display news has been mixed. Ice Universe previously said Samsung is ready to use M14 material and pole-less panel technology in the S26 lineup, which sounded like a big leap forward. But right after that, he added a warning. The upgrade might not be as dramatic as expected. He said there's still no confirmation about true 10-bit color and no proof of improved high-frequency PQM dimming, so even if Samsung switches to newer materials, the real-life viewing experience may not take a noticeable step forward in 2026. And then came the biggest shocker. The entire S26 family, including the Ultra, is still capped at 2600 nits peak brightness. With competitors pushing far higher numbers, this limit raises the question, is Samsung prioritizing profits over pushing display boundaries? Ice Universe made it clear this doesn't mean Samsung is skipping M14. It only means users shouldn't expect the type of dramatic display upgrade that many were hoping for. So brightness stays the same, dimming improvements are unclear, and overall display evolution remains mild. But the camera story took a far more exciting turn. A few days ago, Ice posted a mysterious screenshot of a camera interface and asked people to guess the device behind it. Today, he finally revealed the truth. It belongs to the Galaxy S26 Ultra using the HP2 sensor with a brand new f1.4 lens. Keeping the HP2 sensor but pairing it with a redesigned f1.4 aperture is a much bigger deal than it sounds. A wider opening pulls in significantly more light, delivering cleaner night shots, better detail, richer contrast, and stronger depth, marking the biggest low-light jump since the S22 Ultra. Weight and dimensions also leaked, and the numbers are interesting. The S26 Ultra reportedly weighs just 214 grams, slightly lighter than Apple's next Pro Max, while still feeling premium. Even the thickness drops to 7.9 millimeters, which gives the Ultra a sleeker, more polished feel in hand. The standard S26 comes in at 164 grams and the S26 Plus at 191 grams, making both lighter than their iPhone counterparts. Samsung seems determined to make 2026 the year where the entire lineup feels noticeably more comfortable without losing durability or presence. However, RAM decisions are stirring frustration. Ice Universe says Samsung is limiting the S26 and S26 Plus to 12 gigabytes of RAM, and the Ultra starts at 12 gigabytes too. Only select regions will get the maxed out 16 gigabytes plus 1 terabyte version. He directly criticized Samsung, saying quiet consumers let the brand push unnecessary limits. Meanwhile, Huawei is already offering 16 and even 20 gigabyte variants, showing a stronger focus on user demand. So memory configuration will play a major role in how users compare flagship makers in 2025, because performance is no longer just about chips, it's about fairness too. Another surprise came from the front camera. The S26 Ultra now uses a larger 4mm punch hole, the biggest Samsung has ever used on an Ultra. At first, the community wasn't happy, but Samsung dramatically increased the 85-degree field of view, enabling far wider selfies and better group shots without distortion. Zoom hardware was also confirmed. All three S26 models will share the same 10-megapixel 3x telephoto camera with a 1/39 4-inch sensor, 1 micron pixels, f2.4 aperture, and 36-degree field of view. Rumors of a jump to 12 megapixels were false. Samsung is sticking to the existing module for another year. And finally, the full body dimensions have surfaced. The S26 measures 149.4 by 71.5 by 6.9 millimeters with a 6.3-inch screen. Samsung also confirmed LPDDR5X memory running at 10.7 gigabytes per second across the lineup, the fastest widely manufactured RAM right now. That extra bandwidth particularly boosts the S26 Ultra's camera performance, offering smoother HDR processing, cleaner video, and faster multi-frame capture. Based on CAD renders, the S26 Ultra is slightly thinner, but the 3x telephoto module's area hasn't increased, meaning the physical sensor size likely remains unchanged. Now it's just a matter of waiting to see how all these upgrades translate when Samsung finally reveals the real device.